So as we begin to talk about range of motion, there's some questions you should ask yourself. What does your past look like? Do you have any injuries? Do you have any doctor's advice? Are you afraid to find out your true range of motion? So I think what's most important is to remove ego from the equation.
Definitely.
Take all the weight out and start where you're most comfortable to try and find your true range of motion. This is going to apply specifically to squats and to leg press. That's what we'll focus on for now. That's where we should begin. So to know your true range of motion, you have to find that first. Taking the weight out, for example, on leg press, doing just the sled with no weights at all. For squat, maybe that's doing a body weight squat. I know you said you've had consistency or that you've had success with clients in the past putting them in a Smith rack just to get the motion down.
Yeah, I've had an older man. He, even with just the body weight squat, he couldn't get as far down as I thought he could. So I put him in the Smith machine. Then he had some stability and was able to get hamstrings to calves all the way down.
So a lot of it then is going to have to do with stability and flexibility, and those are things we should be focusing on as well.
Right. Confidence plays into that too.
Very true. So it seems like these days there's a lot of pressure to hit 1 rep maxes from coaches, from peers, from other people in the gym.
What you see all over social media.
What we're trying to say is that your 1 rep max isn't so important. What's important is that you find your true range of motion and that you practice that with a weight that's comfortable and just work on increasing that week over week or month over month. I'll be the first to say that super jealous of his butt, but it's because his range of motion on squats is so much lower than mine. So I've had to start over from the beginning to try to build one of those myself.
I do have an unfair range of motion with squats.
Which you'll see in this video.
Yes. Yes.
So every person's going to be a little bit different. If you need to wear a knee brace, ankle brace, whatever it is, then do what you feel comfortable or what your doctors advise you to do. Something else that's going to be important is going to be foot placement. I have to put my feet up a little bit higher on the leg press platform than he does. I've tried to put my feet where he does, and I simply just don't have the ankle flexibility, I guess, to be able to keep my knees behind my toes and move the platform more than just a few inches, which to me is not full range of motion.
Ankle flexibility and again hip flexibility. That's another place that a lot of people like to ego lift and put way too much weight on the machine. What I think is a true range of motion is you pull the weight down with your knees, and as long as your lower back is still touching the bench below you, then you've got farther to go. But as soon as your back starts to pull off the bench, that's literally as far as your body will let you go with your existing range of motion.
So you need to experiment. Try your feet high, try your feet low. Depending on what part of the legs you're trying to target, you may want to put your feet more narrow. Some people have to turn their toes out just a little bit. It's really about finding what's comfortable, starting out super light, and just slowly building from there. I know in the past I was trying to leg press 6 or 7 plates on each side, and I was doing it, moving the sled a few inches, but now what I can do with 3 plates is bring my ankles almost all the way to my butt before pressing the weight back up, and I'm already seeing development changes in the shapes of my hamstrings, the shapes of my butt, thank goodness. I'm seeing more quad definition, and my legs are just more solid in general. It's not necessarily that I was doing it wrong. It was just that I wasn't using my true full range of motion, and I was cheating myself out of that additional movement and that additional muscle development.
Right, you're only engaging part of the muscle instead of all of the muscle.
Right, and I need all of the muscle, as I'm sure everyone would agree. So there are going to be some different stretches that you can do to work on opening up your hips, work on opening up your ankles. Some of this may require, for some people with no ankle stability, you may have to train ankle stability specifically. Probably one of the biggest things with range of motion, as with anything, is going to be consistency.
Sure.
If you're not consistently practicing that same movement and that same range of motion, you're going to lose it, especially in squats.
That's one of the things I preach to a lot of people that ask me about my range of motion in my squats is it doesn't matter if I'm squatting just the bar or 315 pounds, my movement never changes. So
Right.
from the top to the bottom and back up, my feet are in the same spot, my ass is on the ground every time. It just doesn't change. It doesn't matter what weight's on the shoulders.
Right. And I think that is what's most important, is by being consistent, you're going to develop that muscle memory. It'll become easier to flow through that motion regardless of the weight. Now, as you do increase your weight, obviously you are going to want a spotter.
Stay safe with it, for sure.
Yeah. No reason to risk an injury, especially when you're getting super low.
Right.
Make sure you're at least in a power rack so that you can drop the bar if you have to.
And I like to wear a weight belt if I'm squatting anything more than my body weight.
Sure. Obviously, that's up to preference. Some people love weight belts. Some people think that they are not helpful.
Yeah. You gotta find what works for you.
Sure.
I'm looking long term, so I want to save my back if I can.
Right.
In the rest of the video, you're going to see a couple of examples of squat range of motion and leg press range of motion between the two of us, and the differences between the two of us, to kind of give you an example.
Both of us are in a true full range of motion in the video. My hip placement is just different than his, and so I've learned, as you'll see in this video, to squat a whole lot lower than you've probably ever seen me squat before. And I'm slowly building the weight back up so that I can hopefully build a backside to match his.
I got a booty that girls are jealous of.
I can't have him out bootying me. It's not okay. Stay tuned for episode 2.
Yes.
From beneath the sand, please don't take me close, seems so far away. Across the universe, she lives another day. I know the reason she's hate. I know the reason she's so far away. I know the reason she's hate. I know the reason she's so far away. unshaved head. Another reason she's so far away. Another reason she's dead. Another reason she's so far away.
Always have somebody trying to out squat me in the gym. In their range of motion, quarter reps, half reps, whatever, with more weight, but less motion, less range of motion. So in my book, that doesn't count as a rep.
So you just broke one of the cardinal rules. This is only compare yourself to yourself. It's okay though.
I don't compare them to myself.
You just said that.
I just said it doesn't count as a rep for them.
So let's